Hardly a week goes by that someone doesn't contact me either by a phone call, a text, or an email about a challenge or something they're trying to overcome in their life. Our guest today is a Waymaker who can certainly testify to the fact that those challenges that most of us face can be overcome when our focus is on others rather than ourselves. Welcome back. I'm Marty Coates, and again, delighted to be your host for this yet another volume of the Waymaker Forum, the Washington edition. Our guest today, Chris Martin, from Fayetteville, North Carolina, is following in his father's footsteps in building his family business. But again, it's not what Chris and his father have done just from a business aspect. It's what they do for customers every day that makes a difference. You'll want to learn more about Chris Martin, our Waymaker interviewee for today. In Washington, D.C., lots of decisions are made, and we have one of those decision makers with us today. He's not a member of Congress, he's a constituent. He's a businessman, an author, a father, one who comes to Washington not just for his participation here on the Waymaker Forum, the Washington edition, but he comes many times throughout the year to have conversations with members of Congress and others. We got a few minutes with him. We want to take an opportunity to let you meet my friend and a true Waymaker, Chris Martin. Chris, welcome to our program.
Thank you, sir.
Chris, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into business and that kind of thing.
Of course, my father's been in the car business his entire life. That's all I've known from when he started in racing back in the 60s, I guess, 50s and 60s. So I had that around me as I was growing up as a kid. And then once I went to school in Raleigh at NC State, he was in the electronics business, so we kind of got away from the car business for a little while. But once I graduated from college, which is probably a good thing because it gave me the opportunity at that point, once I did graduate, to go into the banking business, which I did for about 7 years, and found that I loved finance and I loved that part of the business. So after I'd been at the bank for probably 5 years, Dad had decided that he wanted to get back in the car business and was going to do some leasing and lease some cars. And so I helped him a little bit with the business plan and putting the proposal together for the banks and trying to put the funding together. And the more I learned about it, the more intrigued I was by it. So he did it for a couple of years and got it to a point to where I could come on, and that's how I ended up, actually being able to spend time in the car business and financing. So it's been neat.
Well, now in the car business, you have somewhat of a unique model in that you lease vehicles primarily to customers. A lot of your customers are folks that in many ways would have difficulty getting a vehicle in other places. Would you agree?
Correct. A lot of our folks aren't going to be able to go to the bank or the credit union typically and get traditional type funding. And and that was one of Dad's goals, is he wanted to try to help folks that can't utilize that outlet or those outlets, and be able to help them get, essentially the way he put it was good, solid transportation that they can get back and forth to work, back and forth with the kids to the doctor and school and those kind of things.
Now, you've mentioned your dad several times in this, so I just happen to know that he's a racing legend of his own, a member of the Sox and Martin team of drag racing years ago. Legacy has a tendency of, it's just that legacy is passed down from one generation to the next. How big of an influence has he been in your business and in your business life?
Complete influence. Dad, as you can tell, I quote him all the time. I mean, whenever I talk with employees or team members, that's one of the things that we talk about. Or I've never used this term before, but dadisms, I guess, is what they are. But treating people the way you want to be treated, taking care of folks. Again, just doing what's right. And so he's had a tremendous influence on me.
And now, in the shadows of your father and now you, are your daughters coming along? How important is it for them to learn those lessons that you've learned?
As far as I'm concerned and their mother's concerned, critically important. And thank goodness they've had that time with Dad, and we've tried to impress upon them the things that we've learned from him. And so it's had a big impact, and it's very important to us, and it's become important to them, which is really neat.
How would you describe your mission or passion for what you do, Chris? Waymakers are driven by passion. They're driven by something different than most folks. How do you describe your passion for going to work every day, meeting the grind, hitting the road to make a business successful? And you're very successful, an expert in your field. What's your passion?
Again, it goes back to family and taking care of customers and getting to do what I love to do, which is be in the car business, be in the finance business. It's just been an incredible opportunity for me and our family. And the really neat thing about it is those are the important things to me. But I guess you get really passionate about it and really excited about it whenever you have things happen, like I just had the other day where I helped a customer and they had an issue. We weren't responsible for taking care of that issue, but we did step up and we helped them out, and it was less than $200 to fix their problem. And I didn't anticipate it. We didn't ask for it, but the customer went online and gave us just one of the nicest, most heartwarming reviews we've ever gotten. And I bet you I've read it 6 times since she posted it. It was really neat and made me feel great.
Chris, we've got to take a break, but I don't want to end the conversation here. When we come back, I want to pick up from where we're leaving off right here and continue our conversation. So we'll be back with Chris Martin in just a few minutes.
Hang on, because in the next 2 minutes, you'll learn how you can stop giving away customers to insurance and warranty companies and keep 100% of the underwriting profits through your own reinsurance company. And that's without any additional work or overhead. Franchise dealers have been profiting from reinsurance for over 30 years already. Here at Dealer Re, we help independent dealers do the same. That means every time you provide a warranty, require insurance, or sell a service contract or gap, you can make money. The potential is unbelievable. We know because we've been setting up dealers exactly like you for many years and continue to do so every day. It's not uncommon for a small to mid-sized independent dealer using our program to realize several thousand, if not tens of thousands of dollars a month that they were leaving on the table before. In fact, it's a lot easier than you'd think because we do everything for you, from setup to ongoing coaching. When we set up your reinsurance company, you also get amazing customer service advantages that will attract customers and keep them coming back to your dealership. First, you can attract buyers with a true warranty on the buyer's guide. No more as is, and you have full control over terms, features, prices, and claims. Second, you can provide your customers the opportunity to purchase a vehicle service contract. Right now, you probably send between $600 to $1,000 per contract to your third-party warranty company, say around $8,000 per month or $100,000 per year. If the third-party warranty company paid $40,000 in claims, that would equal a 40% loss ratio and a $60,000 underwriting profit. Unfortunately for you, your loss ratio is 100%, sometimes more if you pay denied claims out of pocket. Why? Because it is their underwriting profit. There is a better way. Setting up a reinsurance company allows you to put that underwriting profit in your pocket, not the third-party warranty company's. If you're a buy here, pay here dealer, your reinsurance company can provide premium finance, which allows you to collect the premium on a monthly basis from the customers instead of having to pay it all up front. A much-needed relief for your lending pool. Third, if you're a buy here, pay here, you can provide debt cancellation coverage, which cancels your customer's loan balance if they total their car. Since your collateral is covered, you don't have to worry about chasing down uninsured customers. By buying economical DCC from you, they no longer need expensive full coverage, which can mean an absolute fortune for you. And fourth, you can capture your share of the growing CPO market with your own world-class certified program, not to mention major tax benefits you could get from having your own reinsurance company. Reinsurance, it's what smart dealers do.
And we're back with Chris Martin here on the Waymaker Forum, the Washington edition. Chris, when we left at the last break, we were talking about, the value of your daughters, the passing down of legacy from your dad and the lessons learned. I want to talk a little bit now in this segment about your work away from the dealership, away from the business. So many times business consumes us. You're working off a lot of hours, and most successful business people find themselves doing that. What about your work away from the dealership? What are some of the things that you find yourself involved in?
I would say first, church. We've been incredibly blessed. We've been able to raise the girls in a wonderful, with a wonderful church family and a wonderful environment there. And so it's been an honor for me to be able to give back there. Whether it's as a deacon or chair of the finance committee or whatever. It's just, or going on a trip with the youth. It's just something I always take away a whole lot more than I feel like I'm able to give back. And the same goes with the dealer association. I've been fortunate to serve on the National Independent Dealer Association and the State Independent Dealer Association, and those have been incredible experiences for me. I've been fortunate enough to meet folks such as yourself and some of my dearest and closest friends, and so that's a special thing for me, is to be able to spend time doing those kind of things.
And then your dealership's located literally a couple of miles from the front gate of the largest military installation in the world. How does that impact your customer base and your involvement in the community?
It does. We certainly try to give back. We do some things for the military that we may not do for everybody else, but they do a lot of things for us.
Amen.
We certainly feel a passion for that. But no, being that close to Fort Bragg gives us opportunity to do those kind of things. We've got a number of our employees have either been former military or military spouses, and so they've given us a lot of great ideas and a lot of neat things we've been able to do over the years to help the military. And then on the flip side of that, I guess, we've also been fortunate to be able to help our community in several ways, either through the schools or United Way or Salvation Army or whatever. So we've got a lot of great employees that like to be active and do those kind of things.
So it's important to give back.
Absolutely.
And you find ways to do that. Chris, I want to transition to something I know you want to do. We want to go outside and see Washington a little bit. And we're going to go out and take a little walk with you. And in that next segment, I want to talk a little bit with you about why you're in Washington, why we need to be involved in Washington. Maybe even talk about the upcoming presidential election, and not necessarily your thoughts on who's going to win and who might not win, but rather the importance of the election and from your perspective. A lot of folks that will view this program may be deciding for the first time whether or not to engage in Washington. And really, when we elect the president, we're engaging in Washington. And I'd love for them to hear why you feel it's important for them to do that. And we'll transition into a break and do that at the next segment. That's okay with you?
Sounds great.
Okay, we'll be back in just a second. Chris, we're here on the backdrop of the Jefferson Memorial, and it's one of your favorite of all the monuments, you said. Why is that so significant to your time here in Washington?
Again, you got the beauty of the monument, the surroundings, the importance of Thomas Jefferson and what he means to our country, what he gave to our country, and what he was willing to give to our country.
And you're here in Washington again this year after coming many years before to lobby members of Congress to discuss with various folks within the agencies of government issues that you're concerned about involving your business. Why is it important for business people and maybe for young people that maybe aren't involved to get involved in that legislative process?
And I noticed this the first time I came to Washington several years ago with the Dealer Association. our legislators are great people and they want to represent us well, but they don't always have all the facts. They don't always know what we're going through and what's going on and how the laws are impacting us. And if we don't come up here and talk with them and educate them, they won't, and we'll continue to get more of the same.
Of course, Jefferson was one of our forefathers who really laid a lot on the line for the right to vote and the right to be involved. And here in just a few weeks, one of our national treasures, the presidential election, is about to happen. Your thoughts on its significance and the need for folks to get involved, and if they haven't voted, to vote. From having looked back at other elections, is this one more significant than others for business?
Well, I think because of the candidates, it's pretty significant and pretty controversial. For me, I've got an 18-year-old that'll be voting for the first time in a presidential election, so that's really significant for me. But fortunately, she has, done her homework. She's watching the news. She's trying to get her information and make an informed decision, and I think it's vital that we all do that.
Well, Chris, thanks again for being on our program, for being a part of the Waymaker Forum here in Washington, D.C., and we look forward to talking with you again sometime soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before we leave today, I want to close with a word of encouragement to you. Something that was gleaned from the book, The Waymaker Principles, 8 Keys for Living a Meaningful Life. I was fortunate enough to write that book, and I had that available, obviously, in a variety of forms. But from that book, I spoke about 8 different keys for living a meaningful life. One of those is be passionate. Live with passion. And I think what you're beginning to see as we look at these folks that are deemed waymakers, that is in fact one of the very important attributes and characteristics of their lives. They live a life that's built on passion. What is passion? Well, I define passion this way. Passion is not the smell of the rose, but rather it is the desire to smell the rose. That's right, that desire that's almost undescribable. When we know it's almost time for those buds to bloom and the roses to grow. As the winter months come, soon we'll find those rosebuds fade and the bushes turn brown. But it won't be long before our senses will begin to expect those beautiful flowers again and that sweet aroma of the roses along the landscape. That same desire, that innate burning from within, is that kind of passion that fuels a waymaker to overcome life's challenges and to be certain that they make a difference while they're here on earth. Your challenge for this week is to be passionate. Like Chris Martin and like others, show the world how they too can have hope and inspiration through the work that they can do for other people, and do that work passionately. Until we see you next time, I'm Marty Coates, and on behalf of the Waymaker Learning Corporation and all of us here at the Waymaker Forum, thank you, and we'll see you next week.